Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. The topic of this 10-minute moan is another strange coincidence of someone who's friendly with HUMZA YOUSAF getting what appears to be special privileges. And this is a bit of a shady one. And this story was brought to my attention by someone on Twitter who tagged me into the piece because it's in a local paper, the Courier. So I'm not sure if it's widely acknowledged by a bigger audience. So what's happened here is it's all round about the Dunfermline election candidate for the SNP. So the headline is exclusive. Dunfermline election candidate lobbied SNP government friends in a bid to get his NHS deals for his business. Anis-Miah met HUMZA YOUSAF when he was Health Secretary and dined with Fife SNP Minister Shirley-Anne to promote his recruitment firm. The SNP Dunfermline and Dollar election candidate lobbied friends in the Scottish Government in a bid to gain NHS contracts for his recruitment firm, the Courier can reveal. Anis-Miah, who lists himself as a Director of Operations for recruitment consultants AGB Resourcing since 2018 on his LinkedIn profile, met HUMZA YOUSAF during the former Minister's time as Health Secretary. He also dined the Fife SNP Minister Shirley-Anne On December the 2nd, 2021, an associate claiming to represent AGB wrote to the government saying the business could tackle NHS staff shortages by supplying up to 40,000 nurses from abroad immediately. There is no evidence the company was successful in obtaining any contracts. In social media posts, he claims to have discussed AGB business with both politicians, with his company website boasting about its Holyrood and Westminster connections. AGB adds, if you are a formally registered recruitment agency and are interested in current opportunities of recruiting to the UK, contact us to discuss our favourable business terms. But Mr. Anis-Miah never declared any of his meetings with senior party figures, nor did his firm log its request to the Scottish Government for NHS contracts. Neither the SNP councillor nor his business are signed up to the Scottish Parliament's official lobbying register. Exemptions to the rule do apply for companies with less than 10 employees. Official lobbying rules state this is not the case if a small firm is acting on behalf of another client or company. It's quite clear from what they were suggesting was if you owned a foreign recruitment agency, they would get you the business. So they are obviously acting on behalf of another client or company. But the lack of any paper trail, including the absence of a Companies House page, leaves question marks over whether AGB resourcing should be exempt. That'll be the page that tells you how many employees you have. The revelations raise questions about transparency and the role of the private sector in delivering healthcare in Scotland. And a Scottish Labour spokesperson said questions must be answered by Anis-Miah, the SNP and the Scottish Government about his history of lobbying, which appears to have happened without following basic rules about transparency. When Mr. Anis-Miah and Mr. YOUSAF met, the future election candidate claimed it was to discuss how Scotland's care staffing crisis could be eased. And Mr. YOUSAF name-checked him in Holyrood last year when he was First Minister, describing him as someone who I know well. When AGB wrote to the Scottish Government requesting contracts, a meeting with Mr. YOUSAF was also requested. One paragraph in the letter reads, "We can supply nurses who can start work straight away in a 3-month timescale. Most agencies take 6 to 12 months and help get the NHS ready coming out of this pandemic to meet all targets and offer the best services to the people of Scotland." Mr. Anis-Miah and AGB Finance Director Craig McIver had dinner with Ms Somerville, Education Secretary at the time, on August 19th, 2021, just 2 weeks after AGB Resourcing wrote to the government. The company posted a photograph on social media saying they were meeting to discuss business for Scotland. An SNP spokesperson said Lobbying rules are clear on what constitutes lobbying and what doesn't, and this does not. So they're saying there's no lobbying here. So what is lobbying? MSPs meet with local small businesses on a daily basis, and as an SNP activist and local councillor, he knows Ms Somerville well. Okay, so that's him friends with two of them, because Yousaf already declared in Holyrood that he knows him well. Where do we get to? Through the work of Scots Asians for Independence, which HUMZA YOUSAF has been involved with for 20 years, he has met almost every Scottish Asian activist in the SNP, and that includes Naz, who will next month be the first male Scots Asian to be elected SNP MP. Well, we'll let the electorate decide that, shall we, rather than this government spokesperson. AGB shares an address. This is where it gets, if it's no shady enough, right, wait till you get to this bit. Where are we? AGB shares an address with a pro-independence shop, Yes in the City, in Dunfermline. Mr. Anis-Miah was listed as a director for two companies also registered at this address. He resigned his directorship of Dunfermline Business Services in May 25, 25th, and stepped back from a separate firm called Junkin Services in March. Both firms are listed as having 0 employees. Mr. Anis-Miah states he has a stake in both on his Fife Council website page. Dunfermline Dollar Labour candidate Graham Dowie said anyone seeking the privilege to become the next MP for Dunfermline and Dollar shouldn't be hiding from basic questions on accountability. Kind of think that's a fair suggestion. Mr. Anis-Miah was selected to contest Dunfermline and Dollar after the previous SNP candidate Brian Goodall stepped back. He's hoping to replace the outgoing nationalist MP Douglas Chapman, who quit ahead of the election after claims of a plot to oust him. Quelle surprise! So, Mr. Douglas Chapman, who was the MP for the area, quit, saying that there was a plot to oust him. And surprisingly, a man who has been declared by HUMZA YOUSAF in Parliament as very well known to him, and someone who the other MP for the adjoining area has declared as very, very friendly with him, gets to be the candidate. It's a wonderful world, isn't it? Now, what I find surprising about Mr. What's his face? Anis-Miah. Most people wait to their politicians before they try to make themselves a bit of coin on the strength of their relationships with government. This guy starts it a wee bit early. So people are asking, what happened here? You didn't do it lobbying properly, you didn't, there's no minutes, all these things that the SNP just don't bother with. Now, if this guy was just a normal businessman, maybe an activist for the SNP, that would be an entirely different prospect. But the fact this guy's wanting to become an MP and people are asking questions and they don't seem to be getting any answers, it's kind of shady to me. So, in summary, what I think's happened here is Pally HUMZA tried to, now this is the other thing, his firm clearly do not supply the people. They're like a middleman. So although there's no documents in Scottish Government direct to his company, that's probably not what would happen. The other companies that he's trying to get on board would be the supplier to the Scottish Government, and his firm would be paying some sort of fee for arranging a deal. So the fact that there's no documents lodged, no contracts lodged under the AGB resourcing, then that could be perfectly normal, because they're quite clearly with their own postings looking to get foreign recruitment companies to supply people for government contracts via the NHS in Scotland. So the whole thing stinks, right? And this guy is potentially going to be an MP for Dunfermline and Dollar. So there we go. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you've not already done so, please consider subscribing. And unless you're HUMZA YOUSAF, the SNP, or any of these snidey people that try to make profit from their connections alone, everybody else have a great day. Cheery bye now.